Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, or Season 2 if you prefer, Episode 1. So, this is important. And I want to talk about this right off the bat. As you remember, there was an arson attack on KyoAni that did a lot of damage and caused a lot of problems. I believe there were multiple people who were killed and more people who were injured. And it was horrific. There were so many people who put forth support after that, after the fire, and it was great to see. But the fact that it happened in the first place is horrible. And because of it, it obviously caused issues with the company getting their works out. And things had to be changed. I believe there's a new director for this series because of this. One thing of note is that this is KyoAni's first series since the arson. And so it's not just a big deal to support this series and everything because of that, but or because of it being Dragon Maid Season 2. But it's important to celebrate and support this series also because of what it means for this company coming back from such a horrible, just absolutely distressful attack. This is a big deal for them. So just keep that in mind and support KyoAni as they continue forward with all of their projects. That being said, let's talk about Dragon Maid. So I recently rewatched Season 1 with the SOS Bros and with their reactions. And it was like just over the past few days. And I'm really excited for what Season 2 has in store. You may have also seen the reaction I put up to the shorts, the Season 2 shorts. And it looks like it's definitely going to have the same style of humor and same look and same feel as it always has, which is good. Because those are the things that really made Dragon Maid so successful. And I'm really excited to see them showcase more of that here. I'm really excited to get back into the stories and the shenanigans with these characters. I really just have grown to love them as characters ever since I first saw the series. And just as a little fun note, I've probably mentioned this before on the channel, but I didn't want to see this series originally. I had no interest in it, and I felt like it was going to be just another stupid comedy that really didn't have any value and used a lot of quote unquote adult humor for the sake of being shocking or over the top. I decided to only finally give it a chance when another reactor named Rarity Dash watched it. I decided, you know what? I'll give it a shot. If I don't like it, I don't have to continue watching his reactions. Just move on. I started watching it and I loved it. I grew to enjoy the humor really quickly. And I really quickly found out that it wasn't just a comedy, but a parody of a lot of the tropes that manga and anime utilize. Um, and as you continue the series, you see that in full swing with characters like Luqua, with characters like Kana and Elma, and so on and so forth. These characters who are literally meant to be parodying tropes. Like one of the characters is just straight up named Shota. Like, come on. And his character is a stereotypical Shota character. Like, come on, they know what they're doing. But if that was just it, this show wouldn't have been as successful as it was. What truly elevated this series, beyond just being a parody, is that it's chock full of heart. You quickly care for these characters. And you want to see them be happy and succeed. And you enjoy it. And I'll be honest here. There's a lot of people out there who will talk about certain shows as being more than just something they like. For some people, for a lot of people, certain shows will be there to just calm them down when nerves are high, to comfort them in times of need. And a lot of people refer to these as comfort shows. Just like a lot of people have their comfort characters, these are comfort shows, shows that for a lot of people will just make them feel comfortable and happy and calm and relaxed and just happy. And for me, Dragon Maid is definitely what I would consider my comfort show. It's not my favorite anime of all time. It's not my favorite show of all time. But it would be considered my comfort show. I've seen the series all the way through multiple times. I've seen certain episodes and clips randomly strewn throughout. I've watched the opening dozens upon dozens of times, probably well over 100 at this point. Because every time I go back to it, every time I watch these episodes and these clips and whatnot, it makes me feel comfortable. It makes me feel happy. And really, no other show has been able to do it this effectively for me. Like, there's a lot of other shows that have become really important for me, like MLP, as a great example, because of what it did for my life. But this is the show that really just genuinely comforts me. And it's why it's one of my favorite anime of all time. Amongst the fact that it's also just really good. But it does mean a lot. And so I'm really, really looking forward to this second season. And I know there's a lot of controversy over the new dragon that's coming in, Ilulu, over the fact that she has this small body and these giant tits. I but people are failing to understand that it's the point. Again, this series is a parody. Ilulu is parodying the over sexualization of smaller characters in manga and anime. That's literally the point. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like just assuming what her character in general is going to be like, because we've seen throughout this series, throughout the first season, that these characters go beyond just their tropes. See, like, yeah, their tropes are in full swing, of course, but they go beyond them and are much more as characters than just the tropes. Like, look at Lukua as a great example. Lukua is very much like a parody of the overly heavy fan service a lot of these manga and anime have. She has large breasts. She dresses skimpily. She doesn't seem to understand um, that she's being overbearing with her sexuality. But she's also the smartest dragon in the series so far. She's extremely wise. She's extremely patient. She is a voice of reason a lot of times when Kobayashi's not around to be one. And she's a calming presence among her friends who can get pretty wild. She's much more than just the sexy fan service character. And it goes into other characters too. Kana is more than just the cutesy, lovable lolly character. She has a lot more depth to her than that. All of them do. And that's why I love this series, because it takes these tropes, parodies them, but also gives us a genuinely good show with genuinely well-written characters on top of it. It builds upon these tropes to make it actually quality, which is impressive, for one thing. And it's also just appreciative, because it shows that they're not just wanting to make your average everyday parody series, that they want to actually make it a good show too. Because so many parody shows out there, whether anime or otherwise, are just that. So many comedy cartoons and anime out there are just that, and don't really have that heart that makes it feel like so much more. But this series has that, and I've always really appreciated it, that it did. That the creators and people who worked on the anime, the original mangaka, that they all really put forth this effort to humanize these characters and make them feel truly fleshed out. So, yeah. Like I said, this is a comfort series for me, and I'm really, really hoping that this second season impresses in all the same kind of ways that season one did. And yeah, I hope it's going to be just really genuinely funny too, and ridiculous and over the top, because that's part of its charm as well. So, we're going to get into this and hope for the best. I don't know pretty much anything about what's going to happen in this second season. The only spoiler I know is about Ilulu, and really, I mean, she was in the advertising for the season, so I don't even know like her character or anything beyond what we've seen in like the trailer. Which, by the way, I still love that trailer with the rap and everything. That's hilarious. But anyways, we are just going to get this started, so let us do so. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Hit after fades to black, then fades back in. Everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, a couple things here before we get into the real meat of these afterthoughts. Not the like complete ending where with Fafnir and everything getting blocked out of his MMO account or whatever. But before that, I think it's pretty obvious what Ilulu did to Kobayashi. Ilulu's still disillusioned by things and still not happy with the situation and everything. Noted that this is all because Kobayashi's a woman. And then after leaving the train hall, she noticed something, went into the bathroom, and you could see where she was looking and all. I think it's pretty obvious Ilulu turned her into a man in the way that she gave her a dick. I think that's pretty obvious, and I don't know if more changed besides just that, but I understand Japan is not as progressive about this all about like transgender stuff and everything. So the idea of it being that Ilulu made Kobayashi a man simply by giving her a penis and everything that's not how that works. And I understand though. I get it. Again, I know Japan is not as progressive about that kind of stuff, and it's really rare to get really good trans representation and discussion in anime and stuff. Like, not everything can be Wandering Sun that actually handles it exceptionally well. And either way, you got to still remember this is still a parody series, and it's still kind of making a joke. This is most likely a play on the entire gender swap trope that you see in anime like Ranma 1/2. It's I feel like that's probably pretty clear that it's supposed to be a play on the gender swap trope. So I can handle it. I just want to get that out of the way right now. I can handle this. It's a little awkward for sure. It's a little annoying. But I understand, again, with Japan, with how Japan is still, unfortunately, we're not going to have the best kind of just discussions with that kind of stuff in anime. As long as it's not trying to take itself too seriously and trying to like make some kind of legitimate statement, we'll see how it actually goes. Next episode, apparently, as it actually said. But let's talk about let's talk about the rest of this episode. So there's two main parts to this episode. There's a couple little things otherwise, but there's really two main sections in this one. First off, Toru gets a job. Toru gets a job at a maid cafe accidentally when she goes there to try to tell them off for claiming that they have the best maids and not including her in the conversation, which is definitely something Toru would do. She accidentally gets hired and ends up becoming the head chef, which she's really good at, but after teaching the other maids there and everything how to do what she does, she quits because she doesn't want to serve anyone else besides Kobayashi. This entire section, it's fun. It's just standard Dragon Maid fun. It's what you expect coming into this, especially for the first episode of the season. The second part of this episode, however, I did not expect to get to this early in the season. Like the first season, yeah, it showed bits of insane action. It showed some really high level Sakuga animation. And I expected that with this season. Hell, I expect even better because it is a second season and it's clear the animation has improved a bit. I didn't expect it to be this high level in the first episode, though. I wasn't sure if Ilulu was even going to appear yet in the first episode because it is only the first episode. But she did. She comes down and confronts them and just pretty instantly goes on the attack. Her and Toru fight, but most of the time Toru is defending the city from Ilulu's indiscriminate attacks. Ilulu is, just like Toru, a chaos dragon, but she's part of a radical faction that I guess, based on what was said, is probably even more dangerous than Toru's. So she's trying to attack, but Toru can't use full power back, otherwise she'd destroy the city. Kobayashi manages to, in order to help Toru, she manages to bribe Elma with sweets, which is hilarious, into creating this barrier above the city, large enough so that Toru can go all out. And it works. Toru, who had been having trouble, despite her and Ilulu having almost the same level of power, now Toru doesn't have to hold back. And she takes Ilulu out in literally one hit. One strike, one fire blast, just instant takedown. Because she is stronger than Ilulu. Elma noted that. Elma noted that Ilulu was just weaker than Toru. And we saw that because Toru had to hold back so that the city wouldn't be destroyed, that's why she couldn't go full power, why she couldn't go all out and just defeat Ilulu right away. So now that she had that opportunity, she did. And she sent Ilulu away to deal with her, basically. We see Ilulu confront Kobayashi on the train. They talk, and Kobayashi tries to tell Ilulu a little more about how she feels about all of this and her relationship with Toru and all. And that's when the thing happens. We see a little bit of the other characters in this episode of Fafnir, of Lukua, Shota, and all of them. But they're definitely not focused on, which is fine. It's only the first episode. So I'm not surprised or anything. We just get little glimpses at them, basically. And I think it was a really, really good first episode. Getting to see both the really fun comedy, the heart that comes with that, and then the other side you have the action and Sakuga and everything. It's like it's great to see all of that in just this first episode and to see it handled well. I feel like it was handled well. It was it did feel natural having both of them in there, even if I didn't expect it. Um, and like I said, the animation has definitely improved. The voice acting is still good. The soundtrack is still great. It feels like just good Dragon Maid fun. And I can't wait to see where they take this going forward. It kind of sucks that we didn't get to continue right from where we left off in season one and uh, got to see. It sucks that we didn't get to see Kobayashi's family, but still, it was still nice. It was still a good first episode. And then let's finish this off with talking about the opening. It's not as instantly memorable as the season one opening. Blue Sky Rhapsody it's legendary at this point. It's one of those anime openings that is just synonymous with a series. But even beyond that, it's just that damn good, too. This opening is also really good, but it's just not as instantly memorable. It's not. That's undeniable. It doesn't have quite the same amount of energy or excitement or fun to it that the first season's opening did. And again, that's not to say it's bad, because it's definitely not bad, but it's just not as good. The visuals were still great in it, though. And there's a few things in there that I'm definitely wondering about. One of which we also saw in the episode itself, and that was the little Ilulu doll thing. So I'm wondering what the deal with that is. I'm gonna definitely have to listen to it more and more, hear it again and again to really get a true good grasp on it, but I really do like it. Another thing that I noticed with this episode, real quick before we end here, is there was definitely the fan service aspect of it. Um, with Toru's maid dress being ripped open in an X pattern over her breasts, and then with Ilulu shoving her giant ass tits in Kobayashi's face. Um, there was definitely some fan service, but it felt like the same kind of fan service from season one, to where it wasn't overbearing, and it felt like it was naturally included in the series, in the episode, rather than just being forced upon us. Because as I've stated in the past, I don't like it when fan service is too intrusive and takes away from a series or whatnot. I don't like it when it feels like it's forced. If it feels like it's naturally integrated in as part of a series, then okay, that's fine. Or at least feels to some degree natural, even if not to a full level. But I think it was handled well here. I can approve of how it was handled so far. And season one handled it well too. It just felt like naturally part of it, and it never went too overboard. It was fun. And so far, I think it's probably going to be the same in this season. But either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of episode 1 of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, or season 2, if you prefer. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.